I just had to make this. As you can see, it's been 6 months since I have transferred to a flip phone and gotten rid of my smartphone. And in this video, I'm just gonna tell you guys what happened and how life is like, especially as a 19-year-old in university, as an entrepreneur, and just as a person living in the 21st century, but with the smartphone, what life is like if you can do it, the pros, the cons, and essentially just walk you guys through what the 6 months have been like. Maybe you're on the fence for switching to a flip phone, or maybe you just saw this and you're curious. So I'm going to tell you everything you need to know. So before you take that big dive, because this is a big dive, just so you know everything that's going to happen. So firstly, the reason that I switched, and by the way, this is going to be all uncut. So if you don't have the dopamine to stay, please leave. This is not a dopamine channel, just for just raw value. So essentially, if this is how it started, basically around 6 months ago, basically switched to a flip phone. And the reason for this was I was lying in bed at night, as one does, contemplating how I'm going to make it, peak male experience, 3 a.m., lying down in bed, just pondering about life. And I basically traced back all of my problems and realized all of my problems stem from my smartphone. Whether that be going to bed late at night. Why? Because I was scrolling. Why? On my phone. To get rid of the phone. And a firm believer that, if you're, as it says in the Bible, I'm pretty sure it's in the book of Matthew, it says if your hand causes you to sin, cut it off. And the phone was very much a vehicle for laziness. It was a vehicle for lust, for idolatry. And it was honestly, I think, it was a net negative for me, at least, and I just had to get rid of it. And that was the reasoning. But here is what's crazy: the 6 months, because basically no one else is doing this, especially at my age. So if you are doing it, you'll see that no one else is doing that. So that can be hard. But fun fact: it actually inspired one of my friends as well to just get rid of Instagram, which that could be a good step, because if you trace it down, one of the reasons that people want to get rid of their phone is to have that detox, more so that natural living. But yeah, so essentially that was the cause. And then I got rid of my phone. So what did the first month look like? So in the first month, I was on top of the world. I'm like, man, I finally got rid of this. And, basically conquered life, And then that's when I discovered something very, very interesting, especially when you're trying to cut off any sort of addiction. When you cut it off, you're essentially leaving a gap of empty space. Because for that reason, I was spending 5-10 hours a day on my phone. Now I have all this extra free time, and I have no idea what to do with it. So what did I start doing, and what is something that has become a vice of mine now, which is why I'm going to be starting another challenge and sharing that journey along with you guys, is that led me to filling all of that time with YouTube on my laptop. And yeah, so when I got rid of it, got rid of all social media. Snapchat, still don't have that. Got rid of Instagram. Now I have that just for, the entrepreneurship, just to, for the business. But you can do that on the laptop. So that is one important thing I need to say, is every single app that you have on your phone, you can use on your laptop, whether it be Instagram, whether that be Snapchat, excluding WhatsApp. Uber, I'd be ordering Ubers off my laptop. You can literally do any sort of functionality. You can even call off of your laptop. And one thing I realized as well is even if I would be staying a lot of time on my laptop, it was a huge benefit that whenever I was out and about, I literally just didn't have a phone to go to. So it forced me to be more social, more confident, get out of my shell more. And yeah, so when you get rid of it, you now have this gap in your life. You have these extra 5, 10 hours a day. So when you do that, it's important to fill that with something, because otherwise you could just, go down the way I did, which is that now you're just filling that with YouTube, which I think honestly is it's much better watching long form, more intentional content, being more intentional with how you're going. And by the way, if any of this feels a bit rambling, feel free to let me know what you guys think in the comments. And I'll be happy to make a video about any sort of questions that you guys have about this or in entrepreneurship, responding to you guys. And then essentially going into month 2, I realized it wasn't necessarily so much the phone, it's more so self-control, because all of the same vices or whatnot I would engage in. As I said, you can still do everything off of your laptop. So then that is something to work on as well. But that is what I discovered on the second month, is that how much of life you are missing simply by being on your phone, because you don't even realize that you have these problems. I didn't even realize I had those, those self-control problems, because to me that was just a part of my daily routine. But when you make it naked and you force yourself to look at that there, then you realize and can then in retrospect analyze what was happening. But in the moment, you don't realize you're naked, you don't realize what you're doing. So there's so much that you don't even realize simply because you were on a smartphone. And, one of that was realizing, how much, even without that, how much limited time you have to read. Because there's only a set, like if your reading pace is 1 book a year, then well, you're only going to read 100 books a year, or 100 books in your life. And it's actually much less, because I'm pretty sure the average age is 72. And then essentially, so yeah, that was month 2. And by the way, make sure to stick to the end so I can tell you my final verdict on my decision of, am I now going to, and is this a phone that I have right here, a smartphone that I'm going to show you guys that I switched to. Make sure to stick to the end so I can tell you that, and also the new challenge to fully fill in that gap. But the step 1 is getting rid of your smartphone, which even just to try, I would recommend. Even just get rid of social media on your phone and pivot that to your laptop. Because then even scrolling on your laptop, that's more intentional, because you open it and then you say, oh well, now I need to go check this out. Yeah, so then basically first month on top of the world, second of the month, I realized what I didn't even know is that I had all this time laid bare and I was filling it with unproductive things. And then I started, thinking more about my relationships, what I wanted to do in my life. All these existential, philosophical thoughts, all of these, what am I just simply, you're thinking so much more and realizing how much more is out there. And then a common theme from the 3rd to the 6th months as I go on is really walking around and seeing everybody being on their phones, 24/7. Like walking on the street, being on their phone. I enter in the bus at school to go to university, and everyone's on their phones. It's just so depressing. Like you're walking there like you're in Wall-E, like ooh, ooh, ooh. Like it just so I basically, yeah, I would never go back. I don't want to go back at all. There is one problem, is this: if you are a content creator, you will get banned off Instagram many times. I've been banned on Instagram 7 times because I don't have a phone. They force you to have a phone. So that's why I had to get verified, because otherwise they'd ban me again. But I can't even use Facebook to do Facebook ads or anything like that because I don't have a phone. So the people up there puppeteering, they want you to have a phone. So if those people up there want you to have a phone, you should not have a phone, because you do not want to be, in the matrix and whatnot. So yeah, it really is freeing not having a phone. And essentially what I'll leave you guys with is, I think it was the best decision I ever made to get rid of my phone. I have this Sunbeam flip phone right here. You guys can Google Sunbeam flip phones. It's very good. It has high functionality. You can call, text, take notes, listen to music. It has maps. Just one thing I would say is make sure it doesn't have an app store or internet, because that's the whole point. Because when you have an app store or internet, then you're going to be on your phone, because that's why you're on the phone all the time. So yeah, I would basically highly recommend doing it, and I don't see myself switching to it at all. I pray that I don't. And essentially what I'm going to be doing now is starting a new challenge, which is on my laptop for 30 days, just to test this out. Spend a maximum time of 4 hours on my laptop, because I've conquered the phone, but now I need to conquer the laptop. So if you're interested in that, or if you just want to see more entrepreneurial advice on basically growing your business, that would be a good thing as well, because then high key productive. But yeah, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for that 30-day video of only going on my laptop maximum 4 hours a day. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. God bless.